Hello everybody, it's Tuesday morning, it's very early, it's too hot, I can't sleep, and I'm up and awake. I thought what I'd do is what I was trying to do yesterday, which is to go through my entire thought process for the Royal Hunt Cup for you. They've got the final declarations now. There's a lot of statistics and stuff involved in this. Now, I'm going to start off with eliminating those I consider unlikely winners. The first thing to eliminate for me is anything aged 6 or older. They simply have got a very poor record, and the vast majority of winners are 4 or 5. So, and when I've looked at the runners who are 6 and older, I don't like a single one of them. So, let's go through the field, and I'm clicking on these crosses, taking them out. Big Baz, early morning, get rid of him. I just don't want to be with them. Bear in mind what I always say, and when I'm doing this at Cheltenham, you remember, those who are with us for Cheltenham, it's always a case of, we're not saying they can't win, we're eliminating them from consideration for a bet. That's the important thing to remember. We're trying to narrow the field down into those that we're prepared to risk having our money on. Doesn't mean that they cannot win. Of course they can win. But we're trying to focus the laser onto those contenders that have got a real live chance of winning. Okay, so the older horses have gone. So that brings the field down quite considerably. Now the other thing that I'm going to do straight away is get rid of any mares. And Epsom, although it's a reserve, it's a mare. So now statistically, top weight is a bad idea. So to Barak, I'm going to get rid of him. Another thing that's a really bad idea is to be ridden by an apprentice jockey claiming any weight. So I'm going to get rid of those. Conor Murta. You take it on the chin if one wins, but they never have. So that's helping us, getting the field size down. The other thing that is also important is handicap mark. And it is proving extremely difficult to win with handicap marks higher than 102. 105 is about, oh, there's GM Hopkins there, 6 years old. I'm going to get rid of him. Okay, now the other things that are really not a good idea is handicap marks of over 105. So Tashweek, I'll get rid of him. Okay, so now we're getting the field down. Okay, now you really need to have won a race, well, a minimum of 7 furlongs and been placed at a mile, ideally. A Bossy Guest is 5 years old. He has got some fine form, and he was 5th or 6th in the Hunt Cup last year. The fact is, he's never won beyond a mile, beyond 6 furlongs. We just have a look at him. My friend Harry really likes this horse. He's won 3 races in his life. He's 5 years old. He hasn't won a handicap, and he's never won beyond 6 furlongs. So if he comes and breaks his duck at a mile and in a handicap in the Royal Hunt Cup, fair play to him, but I won't be having him. Now there's some long-term trends that are hard to overcome. One of which is, oh yeah, Ballet Concerto. Let's have a look at this. No horse has ever won the Royal Hunt Cup having contested a group race on their final start. And Ballet Concerto, who definitely wants softer ground, ran in a group race, the Diamond Stakes at Epsom last time out, and I simply can't have him. So I'm going to get rid of him. Now there's 2 races which provide the winner of the Hunt Cup very often, but they're usually by horses that were down the field in these races. And they are the Spring Cup, which was won by Banksy, and the Lincoln, which was won by Bravery. And the winners of those races have found it very difficult to do the double, the Spring Cup Hunt Cup double and the Lincoln Hunt Cup double. I haven't been able to find an example of a horse that's done both. So I'm taking out both of those horses. I think they've got a statistical nightmare trying to win the race. So that's now bringing us down to an even smaller field. Gossiping may get in if there's a non-runner. So I brought the field down to this. Unfortunately for George William, if he'd been drawn 14 and had Ryan Moore riding him, he very well could have been a handicap snip special bet. But stall 1 is a nightmare, and Sean Levy, no thanks. So I'm not having George William. And Cote d'Azur, trained in the north by Les Ayres, 40-1, can't have him. Now, horses carrying a penalty have got a very poor record, and horses that have run on the all-weather last time out have got a poor record. So El Vip may be a nice horse. Luca Cavani also terrible record at Royal Ascot. There's enough reasons to be against El Vip. He's a very nice horse and he probably wins some nice races, and he'd probably end up the group horse. But I can't have him. I won't be betting him. And GK Chesterton likewise got a penalty. I don't want to be with him. And we carry on. So I got down to these as my last few. Von Blucher, I'm struggling to see that he's well handicapped. And in fact, he was transferred from John Gosden to Rebecca Menzies. And I don't see John Gosden getting rid of a horse who could potentially be a Royal Hunt Cup winner. So Von Blucher, you go. Now, most horses that win this race have at least had a prep run. Blair House hasn't, and nor has Abe Lincoln. The difference with Abe Lincoln is the trainer has got previous form for winning Royal Ascot races with a horse first time out after a year's absence. And I'm not going to knock out Abe Lincoln on that grounds. He also has got some tied in form from Ascot last year, where he was second in the Britannia Stakes, and he's been kept back since then. So I'm going to keep him on the list, but I'm not keeping Blair House. I find it very hard to believe that this horse is going to win first time up. It was gelded. It's not had a prep run. For me, he couldn't win off 96 at 10 furlongs, been gelded. He's got a lot to do to step into this company and win. So Blair House is going to go. So this is how I've ended up. I can assume Gossiping won't run, so we'll take that out now. So here we go. This is the final shortlist. And when we look at them, Fastnet Tempest, of course, he should have won the Spring Cup. I really think he would have won the Spring Cup. He got a very poor ride. I don't know if you remember me saying. He should have won this race comfortably by 2 or 3 lengths. And if you watch, the replay is available. If you watch it, he's hit the front 2 furlongs. Led, even says here in the results, look, led 2 furlongs out. He didn't need to lead 2 furlongs out. He was only led because he was going that well. Franny Norton gave it a terrible ride. He should have been produced to lead inside the final furlong. Had he done so, we'd have won going away. There he was off 88. He then won the Victoria Cup and was the maximum bet that day off 89. He's now rated 99. He's £10 higher than when we bet him that day, and he was a proper good thing, despite 24 runners. Anyway, I still believe he then wins at Chester, look. And he was held up way out the back, slowly away, in rear, plenty to do 2 out. He shot through a gap, rapid progress, and led close home. And above the rest was behind him. He just ran very well at York the other day. And of course there's Viscount Barfield, who we backed at 16-1. And he went very nicely. He was drawn 11, and it was out wide. But, yes. So, there's one big concern with Fastnet Tempest. And that is, William Haggis has got a poor record at Royal Ascot. And he underperforms, statistically speaking. He has had winners in the past, but he has his last 60-something runners at Royal Ascot have only produced 1 winner, which is something like 53% below expectation, something in that area. So I am concerned about the form, but the horse is highly progressive, and I definitely think he's, we can have at 10-1 or so. We can have a bet on him to cover all the other stakes. The same thing with Abe Lincoln. So we've got 2 in the middle, 9 and 14. They'll probably race together. And Zhui Feng and Abe Lincoln, he'll be held up and he'll be prominent. Zhui Feng's very interesting because he really wants fast ground to be at his best. He ran in the Spring Cup and he was down the field, couldn't get near the front to lead where he wants to be. He did manage to lead at Ascot, and he only got picked up close home over 7 furlongs. He'll be better back at a mile. He did run in the Lincoln, and he ran in the Cambridgeshire. Yes, beaten in the Cambridgeshire. He did run in the Britannia Stakes last year. Yes, Britannia Stakes, Cambridgeshire, Lincoln, Spring Cup, Victoria Cup. He's run in all of the appropriate races to run in for the trials for the Hunt Cup. He's got a high draw that may or may not be advantageous. It has proved in the past. He just hit a little bit form, came 3rd in the Victoria Cup, and he's 33-1. I wouldn't put you off having an each way bet on him. He'll love the fast ground. The classic profile for a Hunt Cup winner is a 4-year-old carrying around 9 stone and rated somewhere between 97 and 102. And these 4 horses tick that box. So at big prices, you can still get 28-1 Castle Harbour. Now Gosden has got a particularly strong record both at Royal Ascot and in the Hunt Cup. And this horse, although he hasn't had many goes at a mile, he hasn't had the opportunity to run in a large field handicap since he was a very young horse. He's only had 7 starts in his life. And on the second of them, only his second lifetime start, he never saw a race course until April of last year. He's only just had a year in racing. And he runs a 7 furlong handicap at York with 20 runners, and he's held up in rear and wins very nicely. And of course he had California Whip, who was called Chief Whip at the time. He's been sold to run in Hong Kong or somewhere. He then runs on to be second, this horse here, second in the Britannia. And Castle Harbour gave him a thumping. They were at level weights. And this horse, ran very close in the Britannia Stakes. And here's Abe Lincoln, who was fifth in that same race. He was giving £7, but he was beaten, a fair way. Beaten 5 or 6 lengths. And the way Castle Harbour finished that day, I always thought, a mile will be easily within his compass. Since then, he did have a go in they take him from a handicap company. Tells you what Gosden thought of the horse. He went off 5-1 favourite for the Group 3 Jersey Stakes. Soft ground was no good to him, and he wasn't good enough anyway, and he was too inexperienced. That Jersey Stakes, every horse in the last 20 years that I checked that ran in a handicap on its previous start, they've all got beat. There was no disgrace in finishing 6th. But since then, 8 runners, 12 runners, 11 runners, 6 runners, and 10 runners. He has not been exposed to a large field where they're going to go a strong gallop in front of him, and he can weave through a field and getting a good toe. Now they've put the blinkers on. They've got Pat Smullen booked. He's got the right weight, the right age, the right handicap mark, the right trainer. Stall 9 is a bit low. Hopefully they'll come in a phalanx up the middle of the track. And Gosden is just a master of getting these horses. Everything he's done for me suggests that, this has been a year-long plan to get this horse ready for this. Since the Jersey of last year. Fast ground may well help him with the extra trip. So, these 4 horses are well worth having bets on. My main bet will be Castle Harbour. You don't have to have a lot on Zhui Feng at 33-1. Half a point will cover all your stakes. You could have 1.5 points on these 2. So whichever one does happen to win, and I'll do each way Castle Harbour. You could do each way Zhui Feng, especially if we're getting 5 places or so. You might even find on Wednesday that you get 5 or even 6 places, which would be great. So there you go. That's how my crazy brain works, and there's been a lot of research and cogitation and thinking and looking at the stats and understanding the profiling, and there you go. Those are my 4 against the field for the Royal Hunt Cup. I was hoping to do a handicap snip special bet in this race, but it hasn't worked out. So I'm just looking for a normal way to bet the race and try to make a profit on it. Okay? Thanks very much for listening. I hope that's of interest. I'll post that on the website, and let's hope that it's a good day today on Tuesday.